Good morning, students. Today we have a class on trematodes, blood and hepatic flukes. Trematodes, these are the leaf-like worms. And today topic we discuss one is the blood fluke, that is Cystosoma hematobium, Cystosoma japonicum, and Cystosoma mansoni. Today class aim and objective. At the end of the class, students able to know difference between cystodes, trematodes, and nematodes. Life cycle, clinical presentation, complications, and laboratory diagnosis of Cystosoma hematobium or Fasciola hepatica. Important questions may ask in exam and also important in viva. Describe morphology, life cycle, pathogenesis, and laboratory diagnosis of Cystosoma hematobium. Sometimes short answer question SAQ may ask, describe life cycle of Cystosoma hematobium. Maybe the important short note in before also ask Fasciola hepatica. Here you write in short all life cycle, morphology, pathogenesis, and laboratory diagnosis. Before start our topic today, that is trematode, first main differentiating features within three groups of helminths. Helminths means metazoa, multicellular parasite, protozoa, unicellular parasite. In metazoa or helminths or worms, on the basis of some general characteristics, we differentiate into three groups: cystodes, in center that is trematode, and last this is the nematode. So cystode, suppose important points not in detail. Cystode, they tape-like structure. On the appearance, they tape-like. In trematodes, mostly these are the leaf-like structure, just like a leaf. And in nematode, cylindrical structure. Second important point is this is segmented. Trematodes and nematodes are non-segmented. Body cavity in cystodes is absent, trematode is absent, and in nematode, body cavity is present. Then sexes, male and female. In cystode, there is no male and female worm. They are known as hermaphrodite. Male and female genital organs present in the same worm. In trematodes, except cystosoma, all are hermaphrodite, like cystode. Trematodes, maximum or all are hermaphrodite except cystosoma. Cystosoma is diaceous, means male and female worms are separate in only cystosoma. Remaining trematodes are hermaphrodite as cystode. But nematode, in third, nematode, cylindrical structure, male and female is different. They separate sex. Male and female worms are separate. Organ of attachment in cystode, they are suckers and hookulates, that is known as scolex. Head with organ of attachment known as scolex. They attach with suckers and hookulates. In trematode, suckers are present, hookulates are absent. And in last one, no suckers, no hookulates. Buccal cavity with teeth present in the buccal cavity in nematode. And again, important point, that is GIT, gastrointestinal system, that is non-developed in cystode. It is developed but incomplete. Anus is absent in trematode, and well-developed gastrointestinal tract developed in nematode. So these are the important points when we ask, write the general properties of cystode, write the general properties of trematode, and write the general properties of nematode. When we discuss the morphology, these are the general points regarding the group. Now classify only cystosoma, how they classify. So here important histostoma hematobium, that is one important, and cystosoma mansoni, cystosoma japonica. How they classify depend on habitat, where they present. Those are present in the vesicular pelvic venous fluxes, urinary bladder. That is the name is cystosoma hematobium. And mesenteric, GIT blood supply, that is the mesenteric venous fluxes, cystosoma mansoni, cystosoma japonica. In detail, we discuss first cystosoma hematobium today, and this is how to read. Biliary tract, those are present. one is important is fasciola hepatica. These two is important first. Fasciola hepatica and planarchy sinensis. In short, I will give some information last slide. These are the next class. Remaining GIT and lung flukes, that is the next class. So this is the classification of flukes or nematodes, depend on present site of localization. Now our topic today, that is Schistosoma hematobium. Again the same, what is the morphology, life cycle, pathogenicity, and laboratory diagnosis. The Schistosoma hematobium, they are present in three parasitic forms. One is the adult worm, egg, and larvae. This is the larvae, egg is not this slide. So this is a worm, male and female. This is a thick in size. We observe thick, that is a male worm. It is a thick, 1 millimeter thick and 15 millimeter length. 15 means 1.5 centimeter. Very small. 1.5 centimeter length or 15 millimeter length and 1 millimeter thick. Compared to female, this is the female blue color, that is a long. It is 2 centimeter. 20 millimeter means 2 centimeter, but very thin, 0.25 millimeter thin. And this is very present in male, it is known as gubernaculum, canal of gubernaculum, where the female take rest at the time of copulation. So this is a male and female. Gender properties already I told you, mentioned that only here important size and length and thickness, male and female differentiating features. Second is larva. This is the larvae infecting the man. This is the infective form known as sarcaria. This part is known as cystosomuli, and this is the tail. When it enter, this part only enter into the body. That is known as cystosomula or cystosomuli. This is the fork-like tail structure, and size is 400 micrometer length, 400 and 60 micrometer thickness. Structure, this you have to draw diagram. This is the head, it is known as cystosomula, and this is the tail, portrait, and it is the length total is 400 and thickness is 60 micrometer. These are the three eggs of different way to identify when you obtain the stool and urine. The identification features, these are both are same size, approximately 150 micrometer to 60 micrometer per terminal spine. When we observe terminal spine egg, that is Schistosoma hematobium. Lateral spine egg, Schistosoma mansoni, and spherical shape, no spine, very rudimentary part, that is Schistosoma japonicum. These two are present in the stool, because they present mesenteric fluxes. This is only present in the urine and vesical fluxes. So this egg is present in the urine. So this is the diagram again you have to remember. Length is 150 micrometer, width is 60 micrometer, and most important point you have to write, that is the terminal spine. This spine is very important for pathogenicity. Again, another characteristic feature of this egg is non-operculated. Non-operculated means operculated egg and non-operculated. Operculated means there is a gap. When the larvae release, this cap is open, just like a bottle. This cap is open and this larvae present inside it release outside. That is known as operculated egg. So this is not. It is non-operculated egg. This is for MCQ. Non-operculated egg is Schistosoma hematobium. That is no cap. It is a completely closed egg and larvae release of the lysis of the cell wall. This is the first stage of larvae when released from the egg, that is known as miracidium. Swimming ciliated miracidium. It infects intermediate host. It not infected to human being. It when it hatch out the egg, comes in the environment and they infect the intermediate host. We discuss in life cycle. So this is a miracidium. This is the intermediate host, snail. Snail it acts as intermediate host where the miracidium multiply and develop into the infective larvae, that is sarcaria, and sarcaria infect to the human being. The intermediate host is snail. Different types of snail, mostly with genus Bulinus genus, that is a snail or intermediate host hematobium species. In short, life cycle, suppose we discuss that is adult form present in the human. This is one. Then they release the egg. Egg release the miracidium, that is first stage larva. This larva infected to intermediate host. It multiplies up to 6 weeks and it develop into sarcaria. One miracidium cause 1 lakh sarcaria. One miracidium develop 1 lakh sarcaria. And this sarcaria is infect to the human being, and life cycle in short is going to complete. Adult one, egg, intermediate host, definitive host. This is the life cycle. What are according to the other trematodes are cystosome also, Japonica mansoni. Two stages are absent here. Here sporocyst and radii is radii is there, and but metacercary, that stage is absent. This is the life cycle of cystodermatoma. Again, this is according to the color picture, and this is the site of localization of cystosoma hematobium. It's a venous fluxus of urinary bladder. They present in the blood. Now we go in detail. Suppose again, what is the actually the infective form to develop the adult form? That is one cycle in definitive host. And egg to develop the sarcari infective form, that is the intermediate host. So when you detect the life cycle in human being, so what is infective form? Infective form is sarcaria. When sarcaria penetrate, when comes in contact with the man comes in contact with the sarcari in water, this sarcari penetrate the skin, and only cystosomally, that is the head, this head is only enter into the circulation, and tail is detached. Then this cystosomally enter into the peripheral circulation, venous circulation, they enter into the lung, through lung, systemic circulation into the liver, portal circulation. In the liver, these larvae, which larvae? Sarcari, develop into adult worm. It takes 6 weeks. Then they develop into adult worm in the mostly in the hepatic tissue, in the liver, and again after when they sexually mature, retrogate to the portal circulation, they migrate their habitat. Where is habitat? It is a venous plexus of urinary bladder. Venous plexus of urinary bladder, they migrate, then they reside there, sexually mature, population, and female lays the eggs in the venous plexus. Then these eggs in the venous plexus with the heliport spine, they penetrate the urinary bladder and enter into the urine. Now, one question is arise by this figure. Suppose this is if they present in the blood so long time, 5 to 8 years, why not our immune system attack on this parasite? So this is the logical reason is that this parasite when they present in the blood, they cover them with RBC antigen. Whole body they cover with RBC antigen, and due to this RBC antigen, our immune system will not recognize it as self antigen. It not recognized as a foreign antigen because our own RBC. So our immune system not react with our own RBC, and this parasite cover itself by RBC antigen. So in that way they escape from immune system, and they maybe survive up to 5 to 8 years in the vesicle, and they release the eggs, 3,000 per day. So this is the cycle in human being. Again, I repeat, from this you start, this this sarcaria penetrate the skin. After penetrate into circulation, cystosomony is very small. It is only 100 or 100 micrometer because whole sarcaria 400 micrometer, it is 100 micrometer size. They enter into the circulation. So circulation enter into the lung. Through lung, the systemic circulation at liver. In liver, they mature adult one, sexually mature. After sexually mature, now they want to release the eggs. The where the site of eggs release? Venous plexus. So they migrate retrograde towards the portal circulation to the venous plexus of urinary bladder. There they release the eggs, and eggs penetrate the urinary wall, urinary bladder wall, and enter into the urinary bladder with blood. Because when they penetrate with the spine of egg, it penetrate. That why there is a breakage of the capillaries. In that way, eggs enter into the urine with blood. With urine, they passes in the contaminated water or outside in the surrounding. And now the second cycle is starting intermediate host. Now to the headache cycle in intermediate host. So what is released? Egg is released from the urine of the patient. Then they contaminate the water. Then the egg release the first stage of larvae, that is the first, this is a ciliated miracidium. This ciliated miracidium, it is infective to the intermediate host, and that is a genus Belinus snail. When they penetrate the tissue of the snail and they multiply or develop into the sarcari. Up to they form sporocyst and develop into sarcari up to 6 weeks. And how much sarcari form from one megatherium? 1 lakh. And again after 6 weeks, this sarcaria release into the water, and they again survive only for 12 hours. This sarcaria. In the 12 hours, man it comes in contact with the sarcaria, then only they penetrate the skin. Otherwise, they will destroy. So this is the life cycle is going to complete. The cystosoma hematoma lie in the vessels of the bladder, means venous fluxes of urinary bladder, not gallbladder, urinary bladder. Cystosoma in copula. Copula means the male and female they are present, and this is the known as site of vernaculum. Paired male and female adult worms. The female is the darker curved worm within the male's gynophoric canal. The female then begin to produce the eggs about 25 to 30 days after host infection. Females are able to produce up to 3,000 eggs per day for 3 to 8 years. And why they survive? Covered with the RBC antigen. Now pathogenesis. Urinary cystosomiasis, because main site they present in the venous fluxes of urinary bladder. So mostly chronic infection is urinary cystosomiasis. But when you write a pathogenesis, divide into two groups. One is acute cystosomiasis. Acute where start from entry. When the cystosomally enter, they cause dermatitis, allergic reaction, the site of itching. So the allergic and dermatitis is developed. When they enter into the lung, there is sometimes there is a tissue destruction. So the patient with allergic condition and fever with cough. And fever with cough, when we do the investigations with the DLC, that is a eosinophilia, IgE level is more. So these are the indications it is an allergic condition. Neutrophil, bacterial infection. Eosinophil, mostly allergic or parasitic infection. IgE antibody, mostly important role in parasitic infection. This gives the clue if it is the differential diagnosis. Cough and fever with eosinophilia and IgE level is more, with mostly allergic or parasitic infection. So that is acute one. Second, sometime larvae when develop into adult worm, it may be very rarely is associated with the fever with lymphadenopathy and splenomegaly, but very rare. Mostly adult worm is not important role in pathogenesis. Most important role of pathogenesis is the egg. So when you write pathogenesis, you write from all the points. This is the mechanism of the clinical presentation. First, you write 4 points. These 4 points are very important. What is the infective form? Mode of transmission, route of entry, site of localization. And again, repeat by this heading. And when we write this heading, agent host interaction, that is known as pathophysiology. The infective form, Sarkaria. Mode of transmission, penetration through skin. Route of entry through skin. Penetration through skin. Site of localization, vesicle fluxes of urinary bladder. Why it is important? On that basis, there is a clinical manifestation. And also they can present, it can be deposited any part of the tissue. But most important is the urinary bladder or ureteric tissue. Source, patient is the source. Those passes the eggs in the environment already over. Now incubation period is up to 4 to 6 weeks. That is known as pre-patent period also. Pre-patent and incubation period is different. Incubation period means entry of pathogen in one first sign of clinical presentation, sign or symptoms. That is the incubation period. And pre-patent period means case is asymptomatic when eggs present in the urine. Entry of the parasite, that is Sarkaria, till presence of the demonstration of the egg in the urine without any clinical presentation, that is known as pre-patent period, sub-incubation period, sub-clinical phase. And agent host interaction, that is pathophysiology, clinical presentation, acute and chronic, and then complications. Okay. So this is what is happens. Just I'm reading. Only about half of the eggs are excreted in the urine, urinary cystosomiasis. The rest stay in the body, different tissue, damaging other vital organs. How they we will discuss. It is the eggs and not the worm itself which cause damage to the bladder and other organs. Whatever the clinical presentation is not due to the adult worm. It maximum is the adult worm. Here only egg is responsible for the clinical presentation. Eggs per urine. 1 ml urine में 200 to 800 eggs can be present. Some eggs are trapped in the body tissue. Immune reaction to the egg flows in the tissue and cause the disease or clinical manifestation. So what is first acute condition? There is dermatitis is one. Second is fever with cough, that is due to the lung obstruction. Third is blood multiple blood development of the worm from larva to adult worm may be associated with fever with lymphadenopathy and splenomegaly. And at acute, maybe sometimes there is a penetration of the eggs in the urinary bladder. There is a hematuria, and that is a painless and terminal. So what is the hematuria, terminal, and painless? And this is the other part, urinary frequency pyuria. Hematuria, why hematuria? When the eggs penetrate the urinary bladder wall, that time there is a bleeding. Eggs with the blood enter into the urine and go to the heme. Then why the terminal? Because this blood or the eggs mostly present at the residual part of the urine, residual. So at the end of the end of the part, last stream, first flow, mid stream urine, and last stream urine. That time there is a reddish color, or we collect the blood, then we get the RBC in the urine. So known as painless terminal hematuria. Painless because no pain, because it's bleeding from the urine bladder, not from urethra. So painless terminal hematuria. Urinary frequency, residual urine is maybe more, so there is a regularly getting the urgency, and number of micturition is more. Now this is acute schistosomiasis. Chronic schistosomiasis. Here I am not actually differentiate two slides, but you remember chronic schistosomiasis. There is one is obstructive uropathy, cancer of bladder, and urogenital diseases. These are the three important lesions in the chronic schistosomiasis after 3 to 6 months. The chronic schistosomiasis is due to the deposition of the egg. The egg deposited in the tissue. When they release from the venous fluxes, they release by the male and female after copulation. Female lays the eggs and they penetrate the capillary wall, enter into the tissue, sometimes into circulation and deposit into different part of the tissue. Maximum in urinary bladder and ureter tissue. When they deposited, that time they release some substance, soluble egg proteins or antigens. Soluble egg antigen they release, and they release from the egg cell में जो छोटे छेद होते हैं pores in the egg cell wall, they enter into the tissue. Due to this enter into tissue that is foreign, so they cause the delayed hypersensitivity, stimulate the immune system. The accumulation of the plasma cells, lymphocytes, macrophages, giant multinucleated giant cells, and fibroblasts. They accumulate surrounding the egg because egg release the antigen that is known as egg soluble antigen. They immune the immune system, cause the delayed hypersensitivity reaction, so granuloma formation. The structure of granuloma, egg is centered and surrounded by these cells. Which are the different types of cells? Plasma cells, lymphocyte, macrophages, fibroblasts, and multinucleated giant cells. In that way, they form the granuloma, like a chronic granulomatous disease. How the granuloma formation? Again, egg is responsible. Already I told what is the pathophysiology of granuloma formation. So what is the main pathophysiology of the chronic schistosomiasis? Granuloma formation. What is the mechanism of granuloma formation? Most single word, single soluble egg antigen. Stimulate the immune system and they form a granuloma. What is the structure of granuloma? Albumin tubercle granuloma, and it is a schistosoma granuloma. Structure is most of the same. Now, due to this granuloma, the tissue get fibrosis, and multiple granuloma they form the nodular layers. So that is known as cystitis glandularis. Cystitis means layer of the urine bladder is become nodular. Why become nodular? Multiple granuloma formation. Granuloma size is variable from 1 centimeter maybe. Due to this nodule-like granuloma form, and the layer is become like glands. So it is known as cystitis glandularis. And suppose these nodules from the ureter, that there is a fibrosis and ureter nodule, that thickness or lumen of ureter get blocked. That is known as obstructive uropathy. That is obstructive uropathy. Due to obstructive uropathy, there is a urine flow gets obstructed. So retrospectively enlarged, there is a hydronephrosis and pyelonephritis. Hydronephrosis, hydroureter, and pyelonephritis. If you understand the exact reason, what is the exact reason, then automatically you just see the figure of urinary tract, kidney, pelvis, ureter, urinary bladder, urethra. Like the ureter, suppose the eggs deposit the ureter fluxes, they deposit into the tissue of ureter. So due to tissue, there is a granuloma formation. Due to granuloma formation, that ureter get blocked. Due to ureter get blocked, urine flow is get obstructed. So accumulation urine above. So they cause hydroureter. After hydroureter, that urine goes to the pelvis, pyelonephritis or hydronephrosis. Urine kidney get enlarged due to accumulation of urine. So that is a retrospective manifestation after obstruction. That's it is second. One is urogenital lesions, that is a urinary bladder wall get involved and they cause the cystitis glandularis. That is the first. Second important in chronic, that is obstructive uropathy. Ureter get obstructed and there is a clinical presentation. Third is the bladder cancer. Infection of cystosoma hematobium, five-fold more risk in the patient develop the squamous cell or transitional cell carcinoma of urinary bladder. This is the pathogenesis of cystosoma hematobium, acute and chronic. Acute, you have to remember at least painless hematuria with the penetration of egg and demonstration of egg in the urine. Chronic, due to the granuloma formation. If you think and you can explain it. This is the egg granuloma formation. This is weak side. This is whole. This is the granuloma. This is egg. Surrounding egg there is a inflammatory cells, macrophages, fibroblasts, plasma cells, lymphocytes, and multinucleated joint cells. Here also this is the granuloma formation in the tissue. This is the granuloma formation. So histopathological biopsy material, that is the pathology part. In biopsy material they can also observe is the granuloma formation. This is the structure of granuloma. Again I repeat, this is the egg surrounded by the plasma cell and lymphocyte, then layer of fibroblast, and then layer of multinucleated joint cells. This is the presentation already over. Laboratory diagnosis. Not in detail laboratory diagnosis, the demonstration of the confirmation, demonstration of the egg in the urine, which size of 150 by 30. Very minimum, very less parasite eggs are present in the urine. So eggs present in the urine, that is a sure diagnosis cystosoma hematobium. And again characteristic feature, terminal spine. Terminal spine is there, and another size is 150 by 60 micrometer length. Spherical shape, elliptical shape, and terminal spine. That is a characteristic feature of egg demonstrated in the urine with RBC, hematuria. So that is urinary schistosomiasis. The specimen that you have to collect mostly urine and sometimes biopsy material from the urinary bladder wall or ureteric tissue. Either by the biopsy material we can examine the eggs, or in the urine by microscopy we can examine the eggs. Another important antigen detection. One is circulating cathodic antigen, circulating anodic antigen released by the egg. There also we can detect. And most important, egg soluble antigen, which is responsible for granuloma formation. This egg soluble antigen may be present in the blood, in the serum. We can detect by ELISA technique this antigen, important for diagnosis. Suppose we do DLC, eosinophilia, IgE level is more, antibody detection. I'm not going in detail about the diagnosis because they collect the urine as a stool, then demonstrate, draw the diagram of egg and serological reaction, detection of egg soluble antigen by ELISA technique. And draw the diagram of egg. This characteristic egg indicate it is a schistosomiasis. Treatment, praziquantel. Liver fluke. Liver fluke. So this is the two important fluke, Fasciola hepatica and Clownarchy sinensis. Just 3 minutes I want to discuss this part. You prepare for short notes. Very important. Both topics are Clownarchy sinensis and Fasciola hepatica, important for SAQ. So these are all other. Now just you compare to. This is a Clownarchy sinensis. It is a less thick compared to Fasciola hepatica. Fasciola hepatica, that is a 30 millimeter, means how much centimeter? 3 centimeter. 3 centimeter length and 1.2 centimeter thick, very thick. It is a Fasciola hepatica, leaf-like structure. This is the Clownarchy sinensis. It is a 1 to 2 centimeter, 1 to 2 centimeter length and 0.4 millimeter. I mean 0.4 centimeter means 4 millimeter is thick. This is a 1 centimeter thick. This is a 4 millimeter thick. Other next time. And these two you have to remember. This is the only, no, don't draw the diagram, but at least the size and shape you have to remember. Fasciola hepatica and plantar sinensis. Egg size also you have to remember. Bigger egg of Fasciola hepatica 150 by 70 micrometer, and smaller size egg 30 to 15 micrometer, 30 micrometer and 15 micrometer width, oval shape, that is the clonarchy sinensis. See, that is the worm also big, egg also big. Clonarchy sinensis, worm also thin and small, egg also small. The clonarchy sinensis, it is the consumption of freshwater fish having the larval form metacercary. That metacercary enter into the human being. Metacercary means that larva present inside the cyst, encysted. That is the metacercary. Then release into the larval form into the duodenum, enter into the bile duct and develop into adult form. Very simple life cycle. Means simple, not a type of simple, it is a complex type of life cycle because two hosts are required, two intermediate hosts also required. First intermediate host is the snail and second intermediate host is the fish. Life cycle in human being start from entry of metacercary. Cercaria, second stage is metacercary. Metacercary larvae encysted. Then when with the fish, flesh, when we eat, not properly cooked, that metacercary survive live, then it enter into the duodenum and develop the infection. Metacercary, they release the larvae develop into adult worm present the bile duct and they release the eggs pass it with the stool. That is life cycle in human being, male or definitive host. That means biliary radicals. And that, what is the site of localization? Urine, gallbladder now. Now gallbladder. So all this are ascending cholangitis, cholangiocarcinoma, and cholelithiasis. Obstruction through the cholelithiasis, accumulation of the bile in the gallbladder. So related to gallbladder, there is a clinical presentation. So this is life cycle. Thus again I am repeating. Human, the egg, now clonarchy sinensis first, then fasciola hepatica. Egg release in the stool because they present in the bile duct, so they release the egg in the GIT. So this stool, the first larva present, that is Myriacidium, released in the environment, in the water. This first larva infect the snail just like cystosoma. Now from the here ready is Cercaria is released snail, and this Cercaria ready infect to the intermediate host. Which is intermediate host? Fish. And this is fish for clonarchy sinensis. This fish intermediate host and they give encysted, that is the metacercary. And with the fish metacercary, when enter into human being, they develop into adult form. In adult form, release the egg. This is the one cycle gone. Fasciola hepatica, little bit different. What different? Eggs are same. Miracidium is also same. Snail is okay. Sporulia redia. The release Cercari. Cercari enter into the fish. Fish, they Cercari convert into metacercary, that is the clonarchis. In Fasciola hepatica, no fish. Fasciola hepatica, freshwater plant, that is known as, they present metacercary. The Cercaria, when enter into the plants, they convert into metacercary, encysted into plant. And this plant, when we eat aquatic plants, sometimes some people eat aquatic plants. The aquatic plants contaminated with metacercaria. Then the metacercary again enter into the human being. Larvae release. But now larvae not dilate develop into adult worm in Fasciola hepatica. These larvae penetrate the gut wall, enter into the peritoneum. From peritoneum they enter into the liver, break the tissue of liver, and the liver they multiply into adult, develop into adult worm, and then they enter into the bile duct or gallbladder. Ulta. Duodenum say peritoneum, peritoneum say hepatic tissue say gallbladder. In clonarchis, direct develop into the duodenum and enter into the bile duct. That is only difference. Second difference, one is the clonarchis sinensis also in the fish, that is intermediate host, infective form present metacercary in fish. In Fasciola, it is the infective form metacercary present in the aquatic plant. The ingestion of aquatic plant associated with the Fasciola. Ingestion of fish associated with the plant. So this is the life cycle. Pathogenesis again depend on site of localization, gallbladder, repeatedly poliolithosis, cholangitis, and more again important cholangiocarcinoma. Means this also trematode associated with the carcinoma of gallbladder and bile duct, cholangiocarcinoma. This is also one of the important MCQ. Clonorchis sinus is important role in cholangiocarcinoma compared to fascicular hepatica. And urinary bladder, cystosoma, hematoma. These two important questions for MCQ. Cholangiocarcinoma mostly caused by Clonorchis sinensis associated infection in human being. Diagnosis, demonstration of characteristic egg in the stool. Serology, detecting from the antibodies and antigen. This is the egg already morphology I told. That is a fasciola hepatica 140 by 70, and this is Clonorchis 30 by 15 micrometer, smaller in size. This is bigger. These two only you have to remember now. In summary, just one minute, I want to finish the summary. Nematodes, how you differentiate from the cystode and nematode, you have to remember that is the new properties. Now I'm telling only cystosoma, hematomum. There are three types of cystosoma, Japonicum and Mansoni also. Japonica, Mansoni, they mostly mesenteric vesicle fluxes, and cystosoma, hematomum present in the urinary bladder vesicle fluxes. Why it is important? Because depend on that there is a clinical presentation and site of infection. In morphology, cystosoma, hematoma, male worm and female worm, then size and shape you have to remember. Three forms, one is the sarkari and another is egg. Morphological structure you have to draw and with structure, with size and shape. Life cycle, definitive host, intermediate host, you have to first remember. Definitive host is human being because sexual cycle is there, adult forms are there, male and female. And intermediate host is snail, that is Bellina genus. In definitive host life cycle, start from the entry of sarkari. Sarkari present in the contaminated water. By penetration, they enter into the human being. They enter into circulation. In circulation, they mature in the mature in the hepatic tissue, and from hepatic photocirculation, they enter into the vesicle fluxes for lays the eggs. Then they lays the eggs penetrate the urinary bladder wall or ureteric wall and enter into the urine. And through urine, they passes into the surrounding water. That is the life cycle in male, or sorry, definitive host. Human life cycle. Second, life cycle in snail, intermediate host. When these eggs enter into the release into the water, they first start with the meriacidium. Meriacidium penetrate the tissue of the snail. They develop into sarkari. It takes 6 weeks. One meriacidium, 1 lakh sarkari, and the 1 lakh sarkari release into the water. They survive only for 12 hours. In that period, suppose man comes in contact with sarkari, they penetrate the skin. That is the life cycle. Pathogenesis, infective form क्या है, mode of transmission क्या है, source of infection what is, site of localization, most important agent host interaction, clinical presentation, incubation period, and complications. Complication, renal failure and obstructive uropathy, odonto and carcinoma. There is complications. Then source, after the agent host interaction important because ये जो हो रहा है clinical presentation, what is exact pathophysiology? That is granuloma formation in chronic schistosomiasis and allergic manifestation in the acute schistosomiasis. Acute schistosomiasis is mostly the cough, fever, allergic reaction, dermatitis, and painless hematuria. Increase the urinary frequency. Chronic schistosomiasis, granuloma formation. Why granuloma formation? They release the egg antigen, stimulate the immune system, delayed hypersensitivity reaction, granuloma formation. Due to granuloma formation, there is a tissue fibrosis, and after there is a pathophysiology. If the ureteric is get blocked, there is a ureter is get blocked, there is a obstructive uropathy, pyelonephritis, hydronephrosis, hydroureter. If the urinary bladder get involved, there is a carcinoma and cystitis, glandulititis. So this is the pathogenesis. Lab diagnosis, demonstration of the characteristic egg in the particular specimen, that is the urine. Second is the tissue biopsy, and it is confirm the diagnosis. Thank you.